and for a land. And the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of God, saying, tell me, I pray thee, all the great things that Elisha had done. Wait a minute. That's a contamination of the text. Because how is it that in chapter 5, he leaves out of the presence of Elisha? He's got leprosy white as snow. By chapter 8, he in the king's face. Something ain't right. How you going to get in the king's face with leprosy? There ain't but one answer. He had to be cured in order for him to be in the king's face. Where did the curing come from? Well, when he gave the king the food. God had the law of reciprocity, said, now, if you give, I can put a curse in reverse. Oh, God. So what God's saying here tonight, that if you learn to release some stuff, some stuff, if Elijah was here and he would tell you about Gehazi, he would say all he did was change his mind. At one time, he's trying to figure out how he can get something. The next time, he's trying to figure out how to give something. And when he learned how to give something, God turned around and rebuked, reversed, turned around all of the calamities that had took place in his life. I wish I had somebody who could understand that your curse can go in reverse. All you got to do is change your mind. Look at somebody, tell them giving can turn it around. If you expect to be blessed this year, the thing you got to change is your mind. You don't have to change nothing else, but if you just change your mind. The record declares that Paul is on his way to Damascus. He's on his way to Damascus to destroy Christians. But he messed around and ran into God. And when he ran into God, between the horse's back and the ground, the record declared that Paul changed his mind. Woo. Look at somebody and say, just change your mind. Because instead of killing Christians, now he's all of a sudden motivating and building Christians. If you get to the place to where God, I ain't got to figure this out on my own because I just trust you to do what you do. See, some of us, your problem is you too busy trying to figure it out on your own. Well, if you let God do his job and you do your job, look at your neighbor, say, neighbor, are you a praiser? Well, if you're a praiser, just do what you do then. You ain't got time to sit down and be quiet because praising brought you out and praising will take you in. Look at somebody and say, I believe I'll change my mind. Well, the only thing that can hold you back is you, because God is ready for you to move to another dimension. You've been sitting in the same place long enough. Look at somebody and say, it's time for me to move. I wish I had somebody who knew it was time for them to move. High five your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time for you to move. Well, the Bible said that the prodigal son, he's in a bad situation. And his situation has taken him to the hog pen. But while down in the hog pen, the Bible said he came to himself. And when he came to himself, he said, I will arise. I wish I had somebody who seemed like you was in a hole right now, but look at your neighbor and say, I will arise. That means I'm getting up from here. That means I've changed my mind. So high five your other neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time for you to change your mind. If you're going to get better, you're going to have to change your mind, because as a man thinketh, so shall he become. If you think you're coming out, can't no devil in hell hold you in. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time for a turnaround. I thought I was going to give up and cave in and quit, but I changed my mind, because greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. I find your neighbor and say, neighbor, I changed my mind. Well, if you know God is getting ready to bless you, somebody better give God a praise. I thought I was going to throw in the towel, but I heard him say, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. I thought I was going to give up and die, but I heard David when he said, I shall live and not die, so I can declare the glory of the Lord. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you need to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you believe God it's getting ready to bless you, somebody better give God a praise, because I thought I was going to be quiet, but I heard David when he said, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praises shall continually be in my mouth. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I thought I was going to be quiet, but this is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice. Shout yes, shout yes, yes, if you believe that God. Look at somebody and holler, turn around. Grab your neighbor and holler, it's going to turn around. If you change your mind, he will. He will. He will. Turn it. Turn it. Turn it. Woo! Look at somebody and tell them, I declare a turnaround in your life. Prophesy to them. Now praise God for the one you just prophesied to. Look at somebody and say, it's going to turn around this year. This year. Now touch 3 people and lay some power on them and tell them, I empower you for the turnaround. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And no weapon. No weapon that is formed shall. If you know you're going to get a turnaround, just look at somebody and say, it's already doing it. If you know it's already doing it, you need to start praising like it's already happening. Praising like it's already happening. Praising for your turnaround. I changed my mind. I put my curse in reverse. Look at somebody and say it's changing already. Woo! Look at somebody and say, I said change. That's what you ought to say it with authority and with power. The devil don't back up off anybody, but if you let the devil know, I ain't putting up with that this year. I'm changing my mind. I cried last year. I struggled last year, but enough is enough. I'm bringing this buck to a stop, for the day is my day of breakout. Look at somebody and holler, break out. If you know you're going to break out, touch 2 people and holler, break out. It's a breakout. It's a breakout. I'm breaking out. The devil ain't got to let me out. I'm breaking out. You ain't got to open my door. I'll kick that mug again. I'm breaking out. Woo! Look at somebody and say, I'm already out. See, when you're already out, you forgetting those things. Look at somebody and tell them, it's all behind me now. It's all behind me now. Forgetting those things which are behind me. And I'm reaching to the stuff which are before me. I press toward the mark. I wish somebody would just give God a praise for the new territory. Stepping in the new territory. Stepping in the new territory. Woo! Look at somebody and say, neighbor, what the devil done was did you a favor. He ain't hurt you. He ain't damaged you. He just made some stuff happen for you. That's why you ought to give God a praise. When you get a chance, check this out. When they threw Daniel in the lion's den, what the devil didn't know was he was doing Daniel a favor, because Daniel was from the tribe of Judah. And one thing about lions is they don't devour their own kind. So all they did was throw a lion in the middle of lions. See, when you know you're anointed, when you know you're anointed is when you can stand up and look the devil in the face. I used to wonder why a mongoose would stand face to face with a king cobra and sit there and play with him and toy with him. Well, the mongoose knows something that the cobra don't know. And what the mongoose knows is somebody down his lineage has been bit by a king cobra until he created an antivenom. And when he created an antivenom, by the time they get to this mongoose, he got an antivenom in his body. So it don't matter if the cobra bites him or not, he can't kill him. So what I'm trying to tell you is somebody in your lineage took some licks long before you got up. And if he took the licks, look at somebody and say it ain't gonna work. Because what Joseph said was this. He told his brothers, fear not. He comes back and say this, I was in the place of God. So what you need to understand, sometimes a bad place can be a God place. And what God does is blesses you while you're in the place. And then when he brings you out the place, you better than you ever been because of the place. Oh, that's when you know you're bad. When you can look trouble in the face. He says to Jeremiah, I know you're ready when you can look at that which is bad and call it blessed. So sometimes you say, I'm in a blessed place even though it ain't a good place, because what the devil meant for evil, God is working it out for my good. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? And if God be for you, who can be against you? All things working together for your good. Somebody give God a praise. Look at somebody and holler, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Just squeeze them real good. Tell them it's all good.